Hey friends, welcome back to Walt Christie World, where I talk about all things Disney pins and merch and sometimes just Disney World. So that's what we're doing today. I'm finally doing a trip report. I don't really vlog in the parks, but I like to kind of recap our trips and, maybe you'll get some good tips or some good ideas for your next trip. So let's get started. All right, so our travel day was a Saturday and we were leaving out of Memphis, which is the closest airport to us. Nashville is also close, but it's about an hour longer drive and it's just a much bigger airport, so we prefer Memphis if we can get a flight out of there. It's been really limited lately. There was one nonstop flight on our departure and arrival day, so that was what we went with, and thankfully the times I thought would be good for our daughter. The flight out there was a little bit before her bedtime, so she was like not super cranky yet or anything. And we didn't get to the room until about 10, which would be 9 o'clock our time. That's an hour and a half-ish after her bedtime, and she was fine. Like, she did not give us any trouble. She was just taking it all in, so that was good. I'll insert some pictures here and there to kind of show you a little bit about our days. One thing about the Memphis airport is nothing was open on Saturday. If there was anything open, it had already closed by the time we got there. So there was nothing for us to get to eat. Thankfully, I had plenty of snacks packed for her, so she was fine. I don't know if I mentioned this already, our daughter's 2.5. So, but anyway, so we got on the flight, and we made it on time, which was great. We had hired a guy to drive us because it was so late. I wasn't sure how long Magical Express would take. He was there, helped with the luggage. Rhett went and got us some Lenny's subs because we weren't able to eat at the airport and we weren't sure if the cafeteria would still be open by the time we got there. I'm glad we did that because we got to Art of Animation, which was our resort, like right as the cafeteria area was closing. I don't even know if we got there by the time it was closing, so we probably wouldn't have been able to get food. So glad we thought to stop and get some sandwiches at the airport because we ate those in the room. And as soon as we got there, we went ahead and put our daughter down for bed. We didn't bother with a bath. Normally we do a bath at night before bedtime, but it was so late. The pack and play was already in there, and she barely fits in a pack and play anymore. She is small. She's not over the weight limit, but she is long enough that I think she can stretch out all the way, but just barely. So by now she's probably outgrown it completely, but she still naps in one at my mom's house. So the night went well. She went to sleep really easy. We had a family suite. I feel like people are probably going to judge me for this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel like a lot of times things that you think you're going to get judged for, other people do. Other people do it too, so it's fine. So we had the family suite, which meant we had like a separate bedroom area, and then the living area had like a pull-out bed. So we put her in the bedroom area, and we did the pull-out bed because, she sleeps in her own room at home, so I didn't want to make her have to share a room with us and like us being there trying to watch TV and read on our Kindles or whatever. So I wanted her to have her own space like she's used to. So we did that. She was fine. I had done an Instacart order and it had arrived. By the time we landed, it had arrived, and I called right before we put Liliana down. I called and asked Bell Services to bring it, which is only, I think it's a $6 charge to have them bring it. And so I was waiting up for that. And I waited and I waited and I waited, and nothing ever came. I think finally around 1 a.m. I fell asleep, which was super frustrating because it was a long day. I was ready to sleep, and mentally I tried to like give up on it. Like, okay, if they come and they knock, I'll wake up and I'll get it. But I just I couldn't let myself sleep fully because I was still waiting on them to come, if that makes sense. So I barely slept that first night, which was frustrating. It's fine. So the next morning I wake up, still no Instacart order. So I call again after Liliana woke up because the telephone is in the bedroom. So I call again, and I mentioned that we had asked for it to be delivered the night before. He didn't say anything. They delivered it within like 10 minutes. So I don't know what happened the night of, maybe they just didn't have staff, but I wish they would have told me that so I didn't like stay awake. But anyway, so we picked Animal Kingdom for our first day, mainly because we have some friends, or had some friends that were down there that we wanted to see. So, and that was the day, that was what they were doing that day. So we did Animal Kingdom. We started out just kind of walking around the Tree of Life. We had to stop and get our annual passes on the way in, which was no trouble at all. We had already called and gotten them. We just had to activate them. So we walked around the Tree of Life, and then I decided to take her over to Dino Land because of the Triceratops spin, because you know, she's a little kid. That's like the main thing they like, is those little kiddie fair rides, which is kind of funny. You know, you go and they've got all these cool rides, and they want to ride the one that just spins around and around in circles. But I was right. She loved it, and thankfully it did not have a line, so we were able to ride it a few times without having to wait, because waiting ended up being difficult for her. So after that, our friends met us. It's D.O. Disney. I will leave a link in my description so you can check out her channel. She vlogs, so she's got footage from all of her trips, and it's really fun to watch. So I got to walk around with them for a little while, her and her mom and her sister, and that was a lot of fun. And we walked around that gorilla, I can't remember what it's called, Gorilla Falls. We walked around Gorilla Falls for a little while, and Liliana liked seeing all the animals. And then we talked about doing the safari, but the wait, it had gone from like 40 to 50 minutes, and I figured, I mean, it probably won't be quite that long, but it might, you never know. And it was getting kind of close to lunchtime. We had already, both of us had placed our mobile orders for lunch while we were walking through Gorilla Falls. So we decided to just skip the safari and walked back over towards Dino Land. And we took a few pictures, and then we also got to see one of the floating cavalcades, which was fun. It was Donald and Daisy and Launchpad. So Liliana enjoyed waving at them. And we split up from our friends and rode Triceratops Spin one more time, and then we headed over to Pandora. So we had placed our mobile order for Satuli Canteen, which is my favorite. I think it's my husband's favorite, and I figured my daughter likes noodles, she likes chicken, surely she'll eat, you know. No, she just doesn't eat much. It's crazy. So anyway, she ate a couple of bites of noodles, but I had a couple snacks I just gave her when I realized she wasn't going to eat anything from our plates. So she was fine. And then it was getting close to her nap time, so we headed back to the resort, and we ran into Goofy and Donald, which was fun. They were hanging out kind of over towards the Cars section, which is not our section, but thankfully I had kind of spotted them as we were coming out of the main building. So we went over there and waved at them. Then we went back to the room, put her down, and we just relaxed in the room while she slept. And then when she got up, we went back to Animal Kingdom, and we decided to go ahead and try the safari. So, and also I meant to mention this earlier, our bus times, our bus waits were actually pretty good. Like especially that first day, we didn't have to wait maybe like a minute for the buses. We just happened to have really good timing. But anyway, so we did the safari first, was really fun. We actually got stopped by the rhinos. They were just like not gonna get out of the road. It was really funny. I want to say like it was probably like 10 minutes that we were sitting there waiting for the rhinos. And unfortunately our driver was not very good. She, like her whole spiel, I don't know, she just didn't sound very into it, if that makes sense. So not the best safari as far as the driver goes, but we did get to see all the animals, and that was fun for her, for Liliana. So then we had to get a Mickey bar after that. This was her first Mickey bar ever, and so I took lots of pictures and some cute video of her eating her Mickey bar. She would not give me a bite, but she did give my husband a bite.
Can I have a bite?
I don't know what that's about, but anyway. After we finished our Mickey bar, we walked back over to Pandora because we thought she could ride Navi River Journey, and the wait for Kilimanjaro Safari had been about 20 minutes, and she did okay. She was like antsy and restless a little bit, but we just like played. And it's kind of the same story for Navi River Journey. I would like pick her up, by her arms, and like we would just play a little bit. So that went by relatively fast, and she liked it. She kind of like, I would look down at her a little bit a few times, and she would just be like wide-eyed, like looking around. So that was fun. And then we headed out after this. I know it sounds like we didn't do much, but it felt like a full day. So we decided beforehand that we were going to take turns going to Epcot after we put our daughter down, because she goes to bed at like 7:30, and then Epcot's open till 10. So figured why not. So he headed out and did some flower and garden festival stuff, and I stayed in the room and watched Beetlejuice. So it was fun. We enjoyed our first day, and I think Liliana had a really good time too. So on to the second day. So day 2 was Epcot, and this presented a little bit of a challenge for us because it doesn't open until 11 and nap time is at 12. So we already knew it was going to be a very small amount of time in the park in the morning, but we decided to just walk around the resort, look at all the little statues. Liliana was in Little Mermaid mode at the time. She's not really as much into it now, but back then she was, so she enjoyed seeing all the Little Mermaid sculptures, especially Ariel. So that was fun to walk around. It wasn't super hot. Actually, our whole trip, this was at the end of May. It was the 23rd, 24th, and 25th were the park days that we had. So I was surprised it wasn't hotter than it was. I'm pretty sure the temperature shot up as soon as we left, so we got really lucky. As we walked over towards Pop Century, still like an hour before it was supposed to open, the Skyliner, there was already kind of a long line, but I talked to a cast member and he said, once it opens, these people will move through super fast. So even if the line's long, it probably still won't take you more than like 20 minutes. So I was like, okay, I don't want to wait in the Skyliner line for an hour with a toddler. I just couldn't see that working out very well. So we just walked around for like an hour. And then a little bit before 10, which is when the Skyliner opens, 1 hour before park opening, we got in line and we were way back, like way back. I was a little worried, but he was right. It was about 20 minutes once it opened, and we just kind of like steady walked, up to it. Liliana was a little bit cranky, but she's a toddler. She's fine. So she, once we got on the Skyliner, I think she really enjoyed that. She was, just like looking out and watching the water, and then we got out at Caribbean Beach and did the whole thing again. So the wait at Caribbean Beach was probably about 10-15 minutes to get onto the Epcot Skyliner. So we got to Epcot right around park opening, maybe a little bit before, and we just hightailed it right to Frozen because I knew that was the ride that Liliana was gonna love. She's very into Frozen. We haven't watched it much lately. She's on a Monsters Inc. kick right now. Like literally, that's all she wants to watch is Monsters Inc. or Monsters Inc.versary, or Inc.versity is what she calls it, or Monsters Inc. at work. Everything has to have the ink in it though. But anyway, back then though, she was watching Frozen 2 a lot. So we rode Frozen. I was a little bit sad because they still had the dividers up on the boats. I don't know if they still do that now, but if you're not in the front row, you really can't see much at all. So we were in the second row, so she couldn't see everything, but like as we would go by things, she could like look to the side and see it, and that was enough for her. Like she doesn't know any different, so she was just excited to see Olaf and Marshmallow, the big monster. So after that, we headed back out of the park. That's all we did. We did stop at some booths on the way out. We got something from Joffrey's. We stopped at the America Pavilion and got like pretty much everything on the menu there. It's all like Cajun stuff. I really hated those oysters. Ew. My husband liked them, but I am not an oyster fan. The crawfish etouffee was amazing, and the boudin two ways were also amazing. Liliana ate on the little cake one. The actual cut pieces of sausage were a little bit spicy for her, but she ate a little bit. And then we also stopped at the Japan booth, and I got the little shrimp and crab with spicy mayonnaise. Super, super good. Really liked this one. And then we also stopped at France. We had to get the donut. Liliana loves donuts, so she ate like a lot of that. And I had the slushie, and then we also picked up this lamb curry with sweet plantains and rice, which Rhett had gotten the night before and said it was probably his new favorite festival item. I tried it. It was good. I actually really liked the plantains, but I wouldn't say it's my new favorite. But he says it's his new favorite thing, and it was good. I will agree. And that was from the La Isla Fresca booth. So we got back to the room and put LP down for her nap. Also, we had kind of decided, this is another thing, I'm afraid I'm going to get judgment for it, but I feel like I have a small enough audience that maybe it won't be a big deal. We ended up putting her in the bathroom from now on. First of all, it was cooler in there. Second of all, the pull-out couch bed was awful, so we kind of wanted to sleep in the bedroom. And we asked her, we said, do you want to sleep in this bathroom here, or you want to stay out in the big room? And she said she was fine with the bathroom. I think she actually liked that it was a smaller space and not like this big room that she couldn't see everything, you know. So we put her in the bathroom and she was fine. Like, she liked it. It was a perfect fit in there. And then also I liked that she was literally like right there on the other side of the door from us. So if she like called out for us, we could hear her and get to her really fast. So that's where she ended up sleeping for the rest of the time. And there's 2 bathrooms in the suites, so we just didn't use that bathroom. We used the other one. It's sad though, because that is the nicer bathroom. But anyway, so she woke up from her nap and we headed back, and we decided to just go over to the Future World side of the park, and we hit Figment first. She really liked Figment. It was a walk-on. The only part that scared her was, I think it was at the very beginning, there's like a sound test or something. It was really loud and really dark, and she kind of like hugged me and clung to me, but then after that she was fine. She liked it. And as we were walking out, she said, I like Figment. So she's a Figment fan. So next we went on Living with the Land, and that's one of my favorites. Liliana seemed very bored, and Rhett also is always bored by that ride. We did get to see an interesting thing as we were getting in line for that ride. There was a huge group, like probably 30 people, all wearing, you know, their family t-shirts. And they were blocking up the line because they were waiting for the rest of their family. Why? Don't do that. That's so dumb. Wait away from the line. When you're all there, go to the line. Anyway, so they were blocking up the line. So the cast members got the people that were blocking and like sent them down and like the switchbacks, and then sent us behind them. And then when we got to another spot in the switchbacks, a cast member kind of corralled them into an open area and then sent us on into the regular line. So they literally corralled them like cattle, and it was really funny to watch and super cool. I'm like, that's awesome. Cast member training at its finest. They did a really good job. I'm sure they encounter that often. So after Living with the Land, we headed over to the seas and we rode Nemo. That queue, I swear, every time I do it, I'm like, why is this queue so long? Because the line is always only like 15 or 20 minutes. I don't understand why they need that long queue. So we rode the seas. Liliana was kind of meh on that one. We haven't really watched Nemo, maybe just a little bit, but she just didn't really care about that. She did like look in the pavilion a little bit. So after that, it was time for our dinner, and we had dinner at Coral Reef, which was a first for all of us. We booked this thinking she would like the aquarium, and she did. She watched the fish swim by. So I had the seared mahi-mahi, and we got Liliana the steak, the kid's steak. She ate a little bit of steak, but mostly liked the rice and a little fruit. And then Rhett had veal. I'm not sure. It was basically like pot roast, but he said the polenta that it was served on was really good. So we wrapped up dinner and headed out, and I had to get a violet lemonade on the way out because it's my favorite. Tried to give Liliana a sip, and she was not interested. So we got back, we gave Liliana her bath and got her settled, reading books with Rhett, and I headed back out to Epcot for my solo evening. And my friend Kristen met me there, which was really fun. We took some pictures in one of my t-shirts from my shop, and she was actually wearing a tank top from my shop as well. So I got some pictures of that. And then we hit up the Honey Bistro. I got the lavender honey mustard marinated chicken flatbread with whipped honey ricotta cheese, marinated vegetables, and purple haze lavender goat cheese, which was super good. And I could not even eat it all because it was a lot. And then I also got the Tupelo honey and sweet corn spoon bread with jalapenos, bacon, and house-made whipped honey butter, which was also very, very good. Somebody told me that they thought it could be spicier. I thought it was plenty spicy. It wasn't that spicy, but it was okay. I could taste a little kick. And then Kristen got the cheesecake and really liked that too. So, and then I couldn't think of what else I wanted. The Mexico booth was closed. And I had seen this funnel cake at the America Pavilion, at the funnel cake stand that looked really good. So it was a mini funnel cake topped with lemon, cheesecake, ice cream, blueberries, and powdered sugar. And I don't really like funnel cakes, but this sounded so good. And it really was. It was very good. And the funnel cake was chewier than I remembered funnel cakes being and not nearly as greasy. So it was more like a waffle almost. It was very good. And then got a few other things here and there, but I really wasn't that hungry because I had eaten supper not that long before. But it was just really fun to walk around Epcot at night and hang out with Kristen. So now we're going to go on to day 3, which is our last park day. It was a really short trip. So we got up 7, a little after 7, and got ready. I would like to get out the door earlier, but with her, I don't want to wake her up. I always let her get up when she's ready to get up. So once she was up and going, we strolled up to the bus stop at about 8:15. Park opens at 9. My friend Megan had already texted me and said that they had opened, let people in. So I was like, well, we're not going to get there in time to do anything with no line. And the bus line at Art of Animation was insane. So many people. I've never seen so many people at a bus stop before. So they have taped off lines on the ground because of how long the lines are. So I'm hoping that that's leveled out by now, but I don't know. I know they had a bus driver shortage. They had hired a charter bus company. We rode the charter buses several times. I'm not sure if they're still doing that. But anyway, we got on the 6th bus to come through while we were standing there. 6 Magic Kingdom buses, and one of them was a double bus, with the middle that goes back and forth. Anyway, unfortunately, Liliana was already cranky. The day was not starting out well. Let's just say that. She was just taking it all in. Maybe it was just overwhelming, and it was our 3rd day being out and about a lot. So I understand. I wish that I had done Magic Kingdom on our 1st day now, looking back, but it's okay. So she saw the carousel and wanted to ride it. I really wanted to get pictures of her in her cute carousel dress, but she was having none of that. So we rode the carousel. She really liked it, and of course she wanted to do it again, but she had not done very well waiting for it. We had to wait through 2 cycles before we got on, and she was not happy. So we were we're not waiting for this again. So Small World had a short line, and so we went over there, and unfortunately it was not a short line. I think the time shot up after we got in line, but she had already decided she wanted to ride the boat ride. So we waited it out. She pretty much cried the whole time we were in line. I didn't bring stuff for her to play with in line because she just doesn't really do that. It's hard to occupy her without just walking around with her. I don't know that there's really no other way to explain it. If we're at home, she'll sit down and read books, but if we're out and about and I try to give her a book to keep her occupied, she's like, what are you doing? I don't want that. So I didn't even try. I tried showing her a video on my phone once. Nope, not into it. She's just not that kind of kid. So it was fine. We just talked, and I tried to keep her as calm as I could. Once we were on the ride, she was happy. She loved it. She was pointing at all the dolls, and she liked it a lot. So after that, we went over to Ariel because it still had a low wait. It was pretty much a walk on the whole day. While we were walking into Ariel, I ordered Cosmic Rays because I knew that's probably what we would eat for lunch. So we went ahead and ordered that. After Ariel, which of course she liked, we were walking towards Cosmic Rays, and we heard the cavalcade music in the hub. So we went over that way, and Tinkerbell came by, and so she, waved at Tinkerbell. She doesn't know who Tinkerbell is, but it's okay. She thought it was cool. I did not take any pictures or video at lunch, but we just got burgers, and Rhett had found us a nice corner to eat in that was quiet. And then, of course, a big family with a bunch of screaming children came over, which is to be expected at Disney World. But we did have at least a few minutes of nice peace and quiet with our lunches. And Liliana ate the mac and cheese, which she liked. And she does a lot of pouches, by the way, if you're wondering if she gets any nutrition. She eats a lot of the like baby food pouches and applesauce and things like that. So after this, I mobile ordered a cookie that I had seen at Tomorrowland Terrace, and it was the, let's see, Minnie Mouse chocolate chip lava cookie. And so we went over there and picked that up, and it was really good. So we sat down and ate it like in front of the plaza and just like watched the castle and people watched, and it was just a very nice calm moment for us. And Liliana really liked the cookie. The middle part was super like moist. Ooh, I know people hate that word, sorry. But it has like lava in the middle, lava chocolate, and it was just really good. So after that, we headed out. It's always a short amount of time, I feel like, that we were in the park, but I was not about to mess with her nap time, especially on this day. So as we were walking out, we saw some characters. Moana was the main one she saw and got excited about. So she was waving at Moana as we were leaving. There was others up there, Mary Poppins and Alice. Okay, so she slept a couple of hours. And I don't remember our bus wait times for the Magic Kingdom buses other than that morning, but I think it was fine still. We may have waited like 10 minutes a couple of times. But after her nap, we headed back, and it was about 3 o'clock when we got in. And as we were walking in, I was like, let's go ahead and get a picture in front of the castle now, before she gets cranky again. So we got our pictures in front of the castle, and I happened to look over and I was like, the silhouette. We have to do the silhouette. So, cause I had forgotten about it. So we walked over there and I asked the cast member, like, okay, what's the wait time? You know, how long does it take? She said, there's 2 families in front of you. They take about 5 minutes apiece, so it'll only be about 10-15 minutes. I was like, great. So we waited for that. We just kind of walked around. We saw another cavalcade come by while we were waiting. It was the princesses. So she loved that. So we got her silhouette made, and I showed that in my haul video. It was just okay. But, I mean, it's a nice souvenir to have. And also when she wouldn't sit still in my lap, I did play her a video, and she watched it for a few minutes so that he could get her silhouette. So after that, we headed over to Fantasyland to ride Dumbo. We rode together, and she loved it, and she of course wanted to ride again, but I was not going to wait again. We waited. We were the last people to not get on the one that was about to go, so we had to wait through one cycle, which is not bad. Okay, so we went to Adventureland because I wanted to get ice cream, and this is where things go downhill. It's just a warning. So I had said, let's go get ice cream. So we went over to Sunshine Tree Terrace, which is where the citrus swirl is, and that's my favorite. So I got the citrus swirl. I ended up mobile ordering it because the line was not moving, and we walked the treehouse while we waited. So we went over, also the treehouse, man, my legs were killing me after that. So we went over, I picked up the ice cream, and we went, and like I squatted down in front of her and I tried to give her a bite, and she flipped out, like lost it because she wanted to hold it. But you know how these things are, they're like this tall. I'm not gonna let my 2.5-year-old hold that huge ice cream. It's gonna fall right in her lap. It's gonna be however many dollars wasted. No, not doing it. So she just had a meltdown, which is, hey, day 3, this is our first meltdown. I think we did pretty good. So Rhett was like, nope, can't deal with this. So I said, why don't you just go walk around? I'll ride it out with her. So we rode it out. Eventually she asked me to push her. So I pushed her in the stroller. I left her in the stroller when she started freaking out because I was like, I'm not going to let her like run around and like get in under somebody's feet and get trampled or something crazy. So she was in the stroller, strapped in, safe, which was good. And when I say like losing it, she just like screamed and kind of like tensed up, you know. She's only had a few of those kind of meltdowns, and I mean, that's just part of it. That's what they do. So thankfully she doesn't do it often. But So I pushed her around, and I kind of like would push with my elbows while I was eating the ice cream. And every once in a while I'd ask her, do you want a bite now? And nope. So finally we got to Frontierland, and she was not crying anymore. So we stopped. I kind of got down there beside her and I said, are you feeling any better? And she was like, yeah, you know. So I took her out and we sat in Frontierland, and she finally ate a few bites of the ice cream. I don't know if she just didn't like it or if she was kind of over it by then, but she only took a few bites. And we sat there, and then I heard the music change. So I was like, hey, there's some princesses coming again. I was kind of sad. I wanted to see the Mickey cavalcade, but we never did see it. But she waved like so big at Merida. As soon as she saw Merida, she was like, hi, Merida, hi, Merida, hi, Merida. So I was like, okay, she's over the meltdown. That's good. So she waved at all the princesses, had a good time. And then we packed back up in the stroller and started walking towards the hub. I hadn't heard anything from Rhett at that point, but he ended up finding us as we were walking out of Frontierland. So we kind of meandered around the hub a little bit, and then we headed to dinner. So we had debated canceling dinner because of the mood change, but she ended up being fine. So our dinner was at Tony's Town Square, which I have eaten at before. Rhett has not, but Liliana loves spaghetti, so I thought that was a good choice for us. And she was in a good mood. We got the mozzarella balls, and then she got spaghetti, I got pizza, and Rhett got chicken parmesan. So everything was really good. Our server was not. I'm always afraid that like randomly our server will see a video of me bashing them and then feel really bad. But I can't imagine this person would even recognize us because she barely came to our table. It took forever for her to come over and get our order. And she wasn't even the one that brought the food out, which I don't think is unusual, but I think she filled our glasses once. The bread came like halfway through our meal. You know, you're supposed to get bread at the beginning. No, it came halfway through our meal. It was fine though. We had plenty. Liliana ate most of her spaghetti and was very silly and sweet. My pizza was good. Rhett's chicken parm was good. So it was a good dinner. I was pleasantly surprised. And then after that, we decided to ride Haunted Mansion because that is my favorite ride. And I figured she was young enough that she wouldn't be scared of stuff at this point. So I did kind of block her from the guy breaking out of the coffin. I was like, that's a little much. So I kind of like turned and blocked her a little bit, but everything else was fine. She did seem a little like, what's going on? But she didn't cry. She didn't like act scared or anything. So I think she liked it. And then I was really hoping we could ride Pirates, but it had been a long wait all day, and Rhett was like, it is not worth it with her. So, because that's his favorite ride, but we ended up not doing it. Instead, we hopped on the Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which was a first for all of us. I had never ridden that before, so that was kind of neat to ride that. I mean, it's basically just Dumbo in Adventureland. So, and after that, it was time to go back. So we said goodbye to Magic Kingdom and headed back to our resort. So the next day, our flight was not until 1:30, and so the Magical Express was picking us up at 10:30, and we decided to just chill at the resort. That's early enough that it did not make sense to go to a park or anything. So we mobile ordered a cupcake and some coffee, and me and Liliana walked over and picked that up, and then we consumed the cupcake for breakfast because why not? You're on vacation. It was very good. I really liked it. They also had that mermaid tail cupcake there, but it didn't sound as good to me. So this chocolatey one, the cookies and cream, was superb. So we got on our Magical Express on time and we were off. Unfortunately, the flight back did not go as well. So I was thinking, okay, the flight is at 1:30. She naps at 12. Maybe she'll take a little snooze in the airport. Nope. I was like, okay, well, she's not sleeping in the airport. Maybe she'll sleep on the plane. Nope. She was very cranky and she was very upset that she couldn't sit in my lap. The flight attendant made her sit in her own seat, which I understand. So she cried and eventually she got over it. So the people behind us were like, you did a great job. I was like, thank you. Thankfully her crying is not super loud, or at least not to me. And it's not like shrill. And she finally calmed down. But anyway, so we got back to Memphis. Our luggage took 40 minutes to come out. So that was fun. I ended up, after we took turns using the restroom, and then I took Liliana on out to the car. And I was like, well, I'll go ahead and move. I'll leave and pay for parking, and then I'll come pick you up. And then he was texting me and saying, hey, don't even try to pick me up. Like, the luggage thing is stopped and blah, blah, blah. The power went out. I guess they had to like reset it. Anyway, it ended up taking forever. We parked in the short-term parking lot for like 30 minutes. Ended up having to pay for parking again. But Liliana took a little 20-minute nap in the car, which helped a little bit with her mood. But anyway, so that's it. Sorry, I kind of like speed went through that, but I didn't want this to be a super long video. Just hit the highlights. It was really fun. I'm really glad we took her. I think Rhett was still like kind of iffy about if he thought it was a good trip or not, but I think it was a good trip and I had fun with her. I think overall she is a great kid and she did really well. Even not wanting to wait in line. I mean, she's 2.5. She doesn't understand. Some kids can handle it better than others. I thought she did fine. And hopefully next time she will have that concept down a little bit better, and we'll be able to entertain her with more stuff in the line to kind of like make it go faster for her. So I think I'm going to end it here, and I'll be back next week with something. I think Rhett and I are actually going to do our top 5 or top 10 food and wine festival things that we're looking forward to. We did that a few years ago and it was really fun. So I think we're going to do that again. But I'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions at all about Disney World with a toddler. I would be happy to answer them. Obviously, we've only done this once, but we learned a lot and we had a lot of fun. So, all right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.